I'm going to start by skinning a magpie, and I plan to make a sort of small sculpture which is inspired by Birds in Flight, which is sort of the title of this live studio's Murder of Crows. So I'm going to use pheasants, magpie and grouse to sort of create a sort of swirling swarm of feathers and skins and stuff. So, yeah. First you have to open up one side until you get to the leg bone, and then you have to detach the leg bone and then open up the right side, because I'm trying to remove the body so then I have the skin to work with afterwards. This magpie, me and my boyfriend found when we were driving in Shropshire in the countryside, and I just started doing taxidermy at this point, and I was only working with game birds, and I saw this magpie just looked like it was asleep on the side of the road, and I was just like, stop the car, and then yeah, I pulled over and I got a plastic bag and picked it up, and it's just been in my freezer ever since, so I thought it would be good to use it today. I wouldn't call myself a taxidermist because I don't recreate the birds as they were when they were alive. I'm not really interested in doing, like, animating them like traditional taxidermists do, and I think it takes, you know, about 10 years to master it. But I've learned enough to, you know, subvert it and do what I want with it. The mallard, whereas this one doesn't really have a lot of fat on, the mallard has a big thick layer of yellow fat that you have to laboriously pick off, and yeah. It's such a visceral feeling that one minute it's something gruesome and, you know, a dead animal body, and then the next minute, all of a sudden, as soon as you detach it from the body, it's meat. And, you know, we eat meat, and so I think it's that sort of relationship that really sort of, yeah, makes me think a lot. While I'm doing taxidermy a lot, I'm off meat. I don't fancy eating it. But in the past, because I have used game birds, I've skinned them when they're fresh, and then use the meat for like pheasant pies, partridge pies and stuff, so it doesn't go to waste. Well, I've always been sort of obsessed with birds and always used to draw birds with human faces. I was at a gallery about 3 years ago and saw this pigeon which had been stuffed into a bottle, and I think it was called Message in a Bottle, and I asked the curator whose work it was, and he told me it was Polly Morgan's. And then I got in touch with her. I think I was in my first year of uni, and started interning with her, and then decided from working with her that I might want to do this in my own practice. So I went up to Scotland and did a taxidermy tutorial for one day with a taxidermist. It was funny because halfway through, when we got to the stage that I kind of knew about, which is like this stage, when you wash the skins and they're just flat and they're vulnerable and they're beautiful. There's something really interesting about that. And when the tutor taught me how to fully taxidermy something, I lost that sort of interest when it was just, you know, animated like a bird, and realised that actually what's most interesting to me is the skins. Yeah. I'm just getting the meat off the bones from the wings, and then I'm going to detach the wings and then clean them, because otherwise it'll rot, and smell, and the feathers will fall out. So yeah, you have to get rid of everything. I think process is really important for me because it's such an intense experience of, you know, from getting the bird from the gamekeeper or the butcher, putting it in the freezer, getting it out of the freezer, and then skinning it. It is a big part in my practice, but I think as well the other aspect is the finished thing, you know, what I sort of turn them into and subvert them. I'm aware that it is a craft to perform taxidermy, but I'm not a traditional taxidermist. I'd call myself an artist more than a taxidermist. The game birds are shot by gamekeepers for their meat. So yeah, this ethically it's fine because they're shot anyway, and I'm just using the byproducts, which are usually considered waste. A lot of birds are protected.
Yeah.
Like blackbirds and swans and stuff, and also shooting season is only from October to February.
Yeah.
So you're only allowed to get them between those times. I'm washing the wings with water and fairy liquid. Doing taxidermy has made me feel like at times, you know, anxious, and because it's such a intense, visceral feeling, you know. So it's sort of taken a while to come to terms with it. But yeah, it does just make you feel like really, really human, really alive, weirdly, because you're dealing with death. This is tanning liquid, so it preserves the skin, so they kind of turn into sort of like leathery, so it doesn't rot again. On my art foundation, I did drawings, which then led to like anthropomorphized birds, and then I started to stuff them with cotton wool, and they were paper, and stitch them. So it's such a weird, you know, natural progression from that to then actually doing the real thing. The forms that I make they mirror the forms of the birds themselves. Like all the birds' bodies are all sort of this shape, but obviously smaller. And then I've used the forms that I've done here sort of rounded. I know that the birds' necks go like that. I remember seeing a windowsill with loads of pigeons on, all doing different movements, and you don't, you know, when they sleep, birds put their arms under their shoulders and stuff like that. So it's kind of, there is a point. Today I'm just going to use the skins that I've already skinned and the wings and just sort of try and manipulate them and create my sculpture for you. I started out by working with whatever I could get my hands on just to practice and see what I could do with it. But as time went on and I got hold of some pheasants, I realised like the difference in the quality of feathers and the colours, and it's just like amazing. So now it's feathers. So my favourite bird to work with at the moment is pheasant and the magpie. And I like that in some lights you get a completely different experience of it. When the light's really strong, it kind of looks like there's a halo around it. I think what interests me is the colours of the feathers and the shapes that their skins can make. Yeah. So at the moment, I don't think I'm really interested in working with mammals, but we'll see. If my work sort of leads to that, then I would. But at the moment, I'm very much focused on the forms that the birds can take and the different colours that can come out in light and stuff. And with what I'm doing now, you know, making a sort of new form out of the skins, I don't know if I'd achieve the same sort of finished piece as I would if I used a mammal with just fur. I think it would be something completely different. I guess what I'm trying to say with my work is it's about an experience, and it's sort of touching on a human, you know, responses to things like nature and about our relationship with nature. Yeah, and at the moment, for me, I'm still very much exploring what it's capable of and like pushing it further. I think, yeah, there's so many avenues that you can go down with something like taxidermy, because death is just, is probably the most loaded subject.